Okay. As I promised, we were going to give it one more minute. We are at that time now. Thank you for everyone who's signing on, to our friends on Facebook Live. Shout out to you guys. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for being part of this Brunch with REC experience, the first one that we've done virtually. As I was mentioning just slightly a minute ago off air, that we generally do live events and we serve a lot of food. So for our friends and our new friends that don't know who you see on the screen, my name is Jas Takhar. I'm the co-founder here at REC Canada. Along with me, my good-looking Greek friend, my business partner, my brother from another mother, Simeon, aka Simos Papailias, co-founder of REC Canada. Been business partners for 15 years now. How are you doing, my man?
I'm doing really well. Once again, good morning to everybody who's just logged on. I believe we are going to get started.
Yes.
It's been a busy morning setting up for this. As far as I'm concerned, because I had to get a few lights in here. The room, my office, is typically not. It's not the best lit. It's kind of a relaxing and darker room for me to focus.
We get to hear your beautiful voice. I think that's the most important thing.
No, but we got to go now. We're good to go, man.
Yeah. So talk to me, Simos. What do you got for brunch today? What are you eating? And I know it was your beautiful wife that cooked it up. So what do you got over there?
So first and foremost, this is a cheater's plate. I've already had a small bowl of cranberry cereal at about 6:30 this morning. I have, since COVID, I have actually prioritized trying to eat a little bit better and make some healthier choices and kind of hit my home gym as much as I can.
Nice.
And I am getting a pretty positive result. I'm down about 8 pounds since this whole thing started, which is a big deal for me. And I'm going to try to shed some more as we have more time to focus on myself. And hopefully that becomes routine, as they say. If you stick to it on a certain amount of time, it becomes routine. So that's my hope and aspiration for COVID. But on my REC brunch plate, I have a freshly baked croissant from Clemente Bakery, a Portuguese bakery. That's down the street. Shout out to Clemente. Yep. A shrimp croquette, which is a Portuguese pastry. Shout out to this Portuguese pastry. Shout out to Portugal, which was the last place I visited in a pre-COVID world. And some delicious crisp grapes.
Awesome. And so, guys, let us know what you're having. I myself, for the last approximately 18 months, just don't really have breakfast. I kind of break the fast, so to speak, around 11:30ish. So this is a little early for me to eat. I generally do a coffee and kind of hot water throughout the day, or just some water. But today I thought I might I wanted to bring a little bit more energy. So I have a fresh plate of just fruit. Kiwi is my favorite fruit. I had to get it off the counter because my kids have been eating all the kiwi in the home. Mentioning kids, guys, both Simos and I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. Simos has a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old. So excuse us if they run around behind us. Who knows? One of them in my most recent videos was running around a little naked behind us. So excuse us if that does happen. But I'm sure a lot of you know and are going through the same thing. There's been so go ahead, Simos.
No, it's already happened so many times when Gabriel's coming into crazy. Like, I'm still taking crazy meetings with business development and everything else, and you just see little Gabriel. I call him little Jeezy. He just runs in. Hello. He has no shame. He doesn't care.
As he shouldn't. As he shouldn't. Right. So we thought this. We knew we needed to, in fact, reach out to our friends. We've been getting a lot of questions. Hopefully everyone's been getting our emails, our texts, if you're part of the text community. First and foremost, thank you for your time, because even though we're all kind of at home, there's still a lot of stuff going on just with kids and family. There's a lot of webinars happening. but you decided to join us today. And so we definitely wanted to thank you, not only from Simos and I, but the whole REC Canada. There's a lot of our core staff that's online right now helping in the back end. So if there's some internet problems and the web, there's some problems on the web, we do have a team in the back end, Steven, Tyler, Laura, Luke, helping us out, making sure that if there's some type of disconnection, just be patient. We'll get it up and running again. This is being recorded, so we will definitely be sending this recording out within the next couple of days. Please feel free to share it with your friends and family. As well as we have a lot of our team of realtors, 25 realtors that cover that greater Toronto area, that for out of province and out of country listeners, that's a 75 kilometer radius, really from Oshawa to Burlington, Newmarket to the lake. We have a lot of their clients and friends on. So we welcome you. And thank you again for joining us. The agenda today is really Simos and I going to be speaking about kind of macro, our macro kind of thoughts and thesis on what's happening in the real estate market. And then we'll dive a little bit into the micro in terms of should tenants be paying their rent? If you're an investor, what do you do if the tenants didn't pay rent? What can you do to proactively to be more solution oriented in that situation? You know, should you defer your mortgage payments? What's the benefits? What's maybe some things to consider when that happens? We're going to be speaking about can you buy real estate during this time? If you have the ability to do so, what's the process? Can you get financing? So because of our podcast for the past couple of years now, for the last 2 years, we've had the opportunity to sit down, and I've seen some of the names that have been popping up. They're actually on this webinar as well, listening to it. We've had the opportunity to sit down with industry leaders, such as economists from the 6 major banks. We've also had government people on our podcast. So we have a lot of data. So we're also going to be speaking about a lot of data at any time. At any time, guys, feel free to email us for the stats, the benefits that we'll be speaking about that the federal government is doing. There's also like a podcast that we did with Harry Fine, ex-adjudicator at the landlord-tenant board, and he provided us with letters that you can write to your tenants as an investor. At any time, just email us at info@reccanada.com. That's info@reccanada.com. Make a note of whatever information you're looking for. Our air traffic control guy, that the gentleman that you guys know, Tyler Walburn, aka Ty, he'll make sure that he sifts through them. Give him a couple of days, because I think we're expecting a little over 300 people that are listening to this live. I'm sure a couple of hundred people on Facebook Live, and then the recording will go out. So we really appreciate your patience. Simos, anything to add to that, my man?
I think what our support team can do, if they haven't done it already, in the Zoom webinar chat. First and foremost, this is being recorded. It's going to be shared with our entire database, whether you came on or not. A lot of people said, I can't make it, whatever, send it out. So we are going to be sending it out. We should be live on Facebook as well right now. If anybody can check, again, give us feedback if you're seeing it or not. We're just not the guys that are going to take, if something breaks down or fails, if this thing comes down during the next hour and a half, please log back in. We're not so fancy where we care. Like if something happens, it is what it is. Like we're here first and foremost as community leaders. I think all of our clients are community leaders. They're all landlords. They're all people who have taken kind of a hands-on approach to managing their life and their goals and what they do. So we're not speaking from up here to down here. We're speaking here. This is kind of where everyone is at. This is what we will deploy as strategies during this crisis and post this crisis. And your input is invaluable to us. Your feedback is invaluable to us. So info@reccanada.com is your conduit. If you're part of the text community, you can also hit us back there. If you're not part of the text community, I'll make sure Jas covers that on how to join and where to go, because it is kind of a direct link.
And I just really also wanted to add that in terms of the agenda, Simos and I are going to go, we're going to try to keep this to 30 minutes. If anyone knows Simos and I, the one thing that we're really good at is going way over time. So with that said, though, we're going to try to keep this to 30 minutes, and then we're going to leave time for Q&A. And the way that you would get your questions in, and Tyler is watching for questions. I know Simos is on his end as well, is just throw them in the chat. And we're going to, we find after doing 15 years of webinars and live events, the most value that attendees get is through the Q&A portion. So we're going to try to keep our talk to about 30 minutes, and then we're going to open it up to Q&A. Let's get right into it, Simo. So I think if like right now at the time of this recording, we're sitting at Saturday, April 11th. If we go back to about, I'm going to say about 3 weeks ago, the big buzz and the big concern from investors, and then also the push that was happening from very small group of tenants, okay, was surrounding rent payments, okay? It was a huge concern. I feel we got past it. In fact, the stats came in, and we were actually lucky enough to sit down and listen to Benjamin Tal, who's one of the leading economists for the last 20 years in our country, and he was mentioning that 80% of tenants they paid their rent, but now we're coming up to May, we're right around the corner from May 1st. So now I think we might start to see that 80% slightly drop, perhaps not, and there's some options. So let's start there, Simos. What, as a tenant, do you need to pay rent, and should you pay rent?
Okay, so there was mass confusion in the beginning. That the fog surrounding the whole rent issue was clearing, but also the attention came off it because it's past April 1st. So it's not getting as much attention as the buildup in anticipation to it. As a tenant, you have to pay your rent always. Not sometimes, not if you choose to or if you can. You always have to pay your rent, or there's repercussions like evictions and methods and processes that a landlord can evict you if you're not paying your rent. Life happens to everyone. Before COVID, people lost their jobs. People went through turmoil in their lives. And I mean, bad things happen to good people all the time. So as landlords, as human beings, as citizens of this world, we all have to do our part to help the fellow man, but we also have to ensure that it's in line with our economic ability and everything else that manages how we act and react.
Exactly. Now, if you were a tenant that still has a job, it makes no sense for you not to pay to pay rent, because if you don't pay rent, what starts to happen is that the landlord is also not going to be able to pay their mortgage, and we'll talk about the deferral program and all that, but they're not going to also be able to pay their utilities. That's going to create a problem for you as a tenant personally. You might not have lights on. And so if you have a job, then it almost, you could shelf the conversation. I really want to speak to people and tenants specifically that say, okay, well, we lost our job. Now, thinking about it from that perspective, there's a lot of benefits that are available. But you were going to add something, Simos.
So we did two big interviews surrounding the subject. I was in touch with Kayla Andre from Ontario Landlords Watch. You were able to bring a former adjudicator to the Landlord and Tenant Board, Harry Fine. Both are friends of the REC and both brought immense value, and they explained what was happening at the time. Since then, I have spoken to two separate lawyers, and I'm going to give you an exact 100% of what is happening today in Ontario with your tenant in reference to COVID. If your client is employed and can pay rent, they need to pay rent. As a general statistic, on April 1st, 80% of tenants paid their rent. So people thought this was going to happen, that was going to happen. It didn't. 80% of people paid their rent. Now let's talk to the 20%, and let's talk to the landlords directly. If you did not get your rent, it is still your obligation as a landlord to file the N4. You file the N4, you get it served to your tenant, and you've done your piece. It's going to be up to your tenant when their hearing comes, and it will, whether they don't pay 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, just like any other tenant. When their time comes, they are going to face the board in a hearing. And if they can't prove that their income was lost due to COVID and they took advantage of the situation, they're going to be the losing party in that hearing. Their credit will be affected. Nobody will give their property to those people. So anybody taking advantage of the system during this crisis is going to have their hands full post-crisis. There will be a consequence to people who are taking advantage of the system. To those who are not taking advantage of the system and are actual victims of this crisis, there's going to be due process where they can get help from the government, just like they are. They can prove, go get the emergency funds. They're going to go on payment plans. As landlords, we have to do what we have to do. We can defer our mortgage interest. We can defer. There is tools available to us already.
Now, and from the tenant's perspective, and then we'll kind of flip over to the investors and what you can proactively do and what you need to do. I was speaking to a tenant not too long ago, and the tenant said, look, I'm trying to get these benefits, but I can't hold on CRA's helpline for 8 hours. And our comment back to the tenant was like, you need to understand that's you don't have a job. Your new job is to stay online and make sure that you get somebody on the CRA to get these benefits. So like those 8 hours that you're going to spend working, you need to now spend on the phone. Like you need to understand that there is benefits, and you said it yourself, right? Simos, there's a lot of benefits that the government, and this will by no means be a rant one way or the other politically, but I think we can all say that the government has acted really quickly and like faster than they ever have in any other situation, also working really tightly with banks as well. Yeah. Flipping it to investors and what investors can do, because as I see the people signing in, and keep the messages coming in, keep your thoughts coming in, guys, would really, really appreciate if you start throwing your questions in. As I mentioned, we're going to go for about 20 minutes, 25 minutes or so more, and then we're going to open up the floodgates for Q&A. Investors, it really starts from a mindset perspective. Here's my thought process on it, that you need to be solution oriented. I understand that it feels like everything's kind of right here, right now. Like, okay, my tenant might not pay. They might pay. I'm not sure. Reach out. Between myself and Simos, we're at approximately 10 doors right now. And we spoke to like actual units that are done. We reached out day number 1 once we knew that the lockdown was going to happen. And every single one of our tenants paid, except for one lady who said, I need to come up with a payment plan. And our first comment to her was, thank you for letting us know. Let's work something out. The 80% of people the 80% of tenants that paid, a lot of it was due to the fact that investors as a whole did reach out to their tenants and be proactive. And so as well as Simos mentioned, there's a couple of letters and resources we have as investors to send out to your tenants. They're templated already. You just need to customize it for your specific situation. Email us at info@reccanada.com to receive those letters. Simos, what else, because you take a lot of calls from our REC insiders. It's a little over 6,200 people. I take a lot of calls. What have you been telling investors from that perspective?
Yeah. So the number one question is, again, like the difference with REC insiders is because we're always doing things like this. They're kind of savvier. So the questions we get are not such naive or low level questions. I've been on 5 calls at least in the last couple of days where the question was, I obviously know that I can defer my mortgage if I need to right now. Should I? So what measures, Simeon, should I be using to see if it's worthwhile? How will this impact me? And let me go over a couple of those points, because there is no doubt that if you don't need to defer your mortgage because you are well capitalized, don't make that phone call. And the reason is because the second biggest question asked is, can I get financing during this time? Well, you can definitely get financing during this time, and we're going to really go into that because there's going to be a tremendous amount of opportunity in the next month or two as a buyer. But at the end of the day, you're not going to qualify for financing if you're trying to prove hardship for a deferral. So you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot if you don't need to. If you are in genuine need of a deferral, by all means, that's what it's there for. But as an investor, as somebody who is looking to leverage any and all opportunity, what you should be doing is sharpening your saw for buying. And I know you're going to get into that.
Well, no, a thought about deferring your point payment. So I think you can defer up to about 6 months. Most lenders are like the majors, anyways, the 6 major banks are deferring it to the end of your amortization period. So if you have 13 years left on your mortgage, it's going to be 13 years and 6 months left. Some lenders are allowing you to do it within your term. So if you're in a 5-year fixed term and you're in 3 years into it, it's going to be 3 years and 6 months. You need to reach out to your lenders. Stay on the phone, guys. I know it takes a while, but this is our new normal now. We need to start to navigate through it. And we're going to talk about more mindset in a bit. To add to what you said, Simos, like obviously if you don't need to defer, don't defer. Like if you're working, don't even think about it. I think you keep the cash flow going. There is another strategy, and it's funny because I was speaking with a friend of ours, Callum Ross. He's the founder of the Mortgage Management Group, and he suggested a good strategy as well. Been in the business for 25 years, has done a lot of helped thousands of investors, and his strategy was, if you were going to defer, another reason for deferring is if you had better use of that money. Meaning, if you're paying 22% on credit cards, unsecured lines of credit, you have debt that is not mortgage based, like not good debt. And we all know what good debt and bad debt is. And so if you could hold off on making those payments for 6 months, but then actually using that money, not for silly things, but to actually pay down debt, that might be a strategy that you want to consider. But I do agree with you, Simos. If you don't have to defer, don't defer. Weather this storm. We all, with COVID, and this is kind of our opinion, because Simos and I have obviously spoken as much as we possibly can during this time, and we've kind of come to the agreement that from our business level, like we have a team of 25 realtors, we have a core staff of 10 that we pay, and from a business level, we have the mindset that we know that there's an end to this. You can say we're in a recession now, but there's an end to this. Once there's a vaccine, we know that the economy is going to come back up again. That's when you compare it to other recessions in the past, market crash of 08, 09, 9/11, even SARS didn't hit our city as much as COVID did, but it was a little different. It felt a little different. And I would love your thoughts on this too. So almost like it felt a little different because we didn't know when there was going to be an end. Here we know essentially there's going to be an end. So if you can weather the storm, buy time is what I'm really wanting to kind of get across to people.
Well, I think you're really sounding, like some of the things that you're saying are referencing a couple of days ago, and a big shout out to one of our colleagues, John Stewart, Laura's husband, shared a tremendous webinar with us. Where Benjamin Tall, who is the chief economist of world markets for CIBC, he's one of the best known Canadian economists. He consults governments, he consults all sorts of private organizations in forecasting and modeling, kind of assessing the carnage that has been created as a result of COVID. And you were saying a couple things that we know there's going to be an end to it. Of course we do. The curve is going to flatten whether we stay in or not. It's just a matter of how bad. So as human beings, by staying home, you're only saving lives. You like, if you think you control the planet, you don't. A virus will come, a virus will wreak havoc and go. That's what viruses do. The human body will adapt eventually. It's just how many people will die before that happens. So by staying home, by doing all these things and doing the right things, we're helping our species survive at a better level. We're not going to mourn more loved ones. So it is very important for social distancing. But what he was saying is the difference between the 2008 global economic crisis was caused by actual failure in mechanisms of lending, of failure in banking practices, and in speculative practices. Here, we were in a very healthy economy. he was talking a little bit about, and I'm not going to go into it because I'll just go on forever, but he was talking on some high-level stuff that the world was functioning, and bang, somebody threw a wrench in it, and now it's stopped. It has to stop. The world will have to adjust to whatever new realities come across from it, but there is an end in sight. What he doesn't want it to see was that the minute that we get some liberty back, say like we see the first wave down, we don't create that second and third wave of the epidemic, which will cripple the economy.
It's not going to be going back to normal. It's going to be going to the new normal, i.e. long waits at airports. Stores will start to reopen. However, you're not going to, it's going to almost feel like how grocery stores do now, right? There'll be lineups. There'll be a certain amount of people allowed in at the same time.
Yeah, we just have to be smart about it.
Well, we have to be smart about it. Like I go back to 9/11, right? A lot, because I remember thinking, and really the media around 9/11 at that time was like, okay, no one's going to ever want to work in high rises anymore. No one's going to want to get into planes. We all know that didn't happen. 08, 09, no one's going to be buying homes. Consumer confidence is going to be low for a very long time, where in the GTA, it really only affected the real estate market for a 6-month period, maybe a 10-month period at max, which brings us to kind of the next conversation, outlook on real estate. Why don't we talk a little bit about facts first, what happened in the month of March, because those are kind of full stats that we have. It really was a story, a tale of two stories, from March 1st to March 15th, like splitting the month in half. Yep. What we saw was sales go down in the second half of the month by 15.1%. That's 15.1%. What I really want to emphasize there is that's what the amount of sales that happened, which kind of makes sense, right? At the second half of the month, people were told not to leave their home, and sellers were, for good reason, not allowing people to come into their home, because real estate kind of took a back seat, as it should have, where a lot, like the questions we were starting to get is, oh my God, my house price just went down 15%. I was like, no. Your house values didn't go down 15%. The amount of transactions that happened went down 15%. So your values, in fact, it's still
just a quick correction, Jas.
Yeah.
It was 15% overall in the month of March.
Yeah.
Then it went down the second half. So the first half saw an increase of 12% year over year, but the 50% decline in the second half of the month resulted into a March 2020 being 15% down in sales.
Yes, but sales volume.
Yeah, sales volume,
right?
Yes.
Not so your home didn't go down. Now, we always like to say that we don't have the crystal ball, and anybody who does, you might want to run away from them, right? Who says that they have it. But values didn't go down. And so I really want to make sure that we emphasize that, because real estate doesn't act like stocks do, right? Stocks have the daily, if not sometimes hourly, to the minute fluctuations. You can't day trade real estate, guys. So real estate takes a little bit longer in terms of seeing what the facts would be. But our outlook in general, why don't you touch on that a little bit, Simos, like in terms of for the short term, 3 to 6 months, and then we'll talk a little bit, and I'll talk a little bit about medium to long term.
Yeah, so I'm going to give my short term is what I personally think, and I'm glued obviously to as many high-end resources that I can. So I do have a lot of friends that are analysts that work for the credit unions. I have friends who are analysts for banks in Europe, both in Brussels and in Athens. I'm of Greek heritage, so a lot of my friends are graduated from tremendous universities all over Europe, and they've really succeeded in bringing the Greek economy back post the economic collapse, and they're all stationed all over Europe with both German banks, with the European Banking Initiative, and of course Greek banks. So I'm getting the picture from there almost every day because we have Facebook groups that we share information and intelligence with. And here in Canada, our friends at Urban Nation, our friends are developers. We just kind of get the inside scoop on a lot of things that helps us know that it's not so bad. So I will share that insight with you here today. A lot of people are anticipating that a lot of things are going to ease up by the end of June. And I agree. I do agree. I think the social distancing initiatives, I think we learned a lot by seeing the disaster in Europe, meaning China was the first indicator. Nobody thought that it was going to hit their home, and then it was in their backyard. Italy, Spain, Germany, all of that Western Central Europe taught the world a very important lesson, clearly not to the Americans, because the Americans were laughing at it until it smashed into their homes. But Canada did listen, and we did slow it down. And if we're smart and we continue down the path that we're on, I think we're going to gain trillions of dollars back. Forget just the health implications that we're staying alive. We're going to gain back our lives sooner than anyone else if we take it slow. So I do think there will be a general ease by the end of June.
Yeah.
And I think the modified, real estate is an essential service for obvious reasons. The new reality are virtual open homes. The new reality is sending in as little soldiers on the ground as possible. And you're going to see more and more video crews ripping around
We've still seen hundreds of transactions done on a weekly basis.
100%.
Excuse me, right across the Greater Toronto area. Now, the question comes up: should I buy or should I wait? And
so a seller.
Go ahead, Simos. No, go ahead, brother.
No, as a seller, if you're a seller, you need to hold on. Yeah. If you don't need to sell, selling in uncertain times is a mistake. Period.
And to the point of you said, if you don't need to sell, that's so important, right? Because there is people that need to sell because they already bought a home pre-COVID, and so they need to sell. Those are majority of the transactions.
Or they need to sell because of an estate, or because of a divorce, or because of a death, or because of a million other reasons. If you need to sell, do what you need to do.
And if you need to buy because you sold already, then you obviously then you should. But if you don't have to buy or sell, our opinion and our advice is to hold off for a couple of months, just to let this to buy the time and weather the storm. You're going to hear us say that a lot. Going into COVID, the month over month, what were we seeing exactly, Simos?
We were on fire, Jas. So yeah. This really and truly. I hate talking about COVID like it's a cause, because it's such a serious health concern. Like, it's truly a virus that's killing people.
Yeah.
And because we're talking about it so much, it's losing its value. Like, we're talking about it like it's something. You know what I mean?
Well, one of the best memes out there is when somebody asks who started COVID, and then they pull up the mask and it's a Zoom logo. Right? I don't know. Yeah. No, all kidding aside.
So the market was on fire, Jas. The market was truly on fire.
It's safe to say from February to March, we were seeing, like, in the Greater Toronto area, month over month, close to 11, 12%.
Double digit, 12.
Right,
12.
Double digit. It started to go like almost like this. It started to get scary almost for people in the business, because it started to smell like 2017 before we needed to see a government intervention, which was the Fair Housing Plan, which cooled things down. Here's my personal opinion, right? Where in terms of appreciation, because I had some questions here that I saw pop in, hey, what's your kind of forecast? I think if we were seeing double digits, closer to 11, 12% month over month, I think it's safe to say that we might be in that range of maybe starting to see 3.5%, 4% kind of really slowing it down, and be very cautiously optimistic looking at the market, but significantly cutting down the market appreciation. Remember, if we're still seeing numbers in the 3.5%, 4%, it's still a healthy market. And what's your thoughts on that, Simos?
Well, my thoughts are, you're referring specifically to the Greater Toronto area.
Yes.
As we know, our listeners and audience are almost North America wide at this point. So I will make a point to your micro focus of GTA, and I'll also make a point to the conversation we had a couple of days ago on the macro focus of what's happening right now out west, etc. So again, we were on complete fire. Immigration was piling in. Job sector, we had the hottest tech market of all time as far as Toronto is concerned. So things were really going a certain way. This fork in the road, this curveball that just hit us now with COVID is going to have a tremendous impact on the whole scene. From a micro, again, like we're talking GTA, the immigration flow that was holding us steady on this path is going to slow down.
For sure.
There's not going to be 150,000 people coming in per annum in the next few years.
Well, and it's actually closer to probably 200,000.
Sure.
And that's quite obvious because the borders are closed, right? Like the borders, for the first time, the borders are shut down. Right?
And how long will it take for that to normalize again? So there is going to be direct carnage and impact to the GTA as well, because the GTA is always protected from so many things because of the volume of people in business and being centered around service. Now, from a macro in the country, Alberta and Saskatchewan, that were slowly creeping towards some kind of a normalcy and recovery, just got badgered to death again. They just, like, oil has tanked to numbers that it took them 6 years to get back to $16-70 a barrel. They're creeping under $20.
Well, look at just and for anybody who's watching or listening, go look. Just take a picture of the closest Esso or Petro Canada. Look where gas is at today in Toronto. I saw it, or here in Brampton where I am. Yesterday, sorry, I think I saw it at 54 cents. Like, I don't even remember.
Gas is on sale and nobody needs it, Jas, because nobody can go anywhere.
There's ships in the ocean sitting with barrels upon barrels, right? Just supply and demand, guys. Basic economics, right? Supply and demand.
I'm out of coffee. I'm out of coffee. This is a problem. I'm going to have to call in the reinforcements soon.
Go ahead.
Guys, I don't want to go into a long rant.
No, but it's okay. You were talking about what was happening in the Alberta market.
Yeah. So we're talking about the short and long term forecast.
Yeah.
So for the short term, I think everybody needs to really hunker down, make sure that they go over their family and business budgets. I think everybody, and this is actually a really good tie-in for our next topics. Let me just see, should I buy real estate during this pandemic? The answer is, if you have to, go ahead. And quickly, we can also talk about, sorry, go ahead.
And there's, because of the amount of insiders that we have, I did notice that we've been getting a lot of emails and calls from some people in the camp. Well, look, Jas, I've already refinanced my home. The money for that refinance is literally sitting with me right now, and I'm paying interest on it. Is there places I can deploy it? If I were to deploy it, if I wanted to take look at something that might be compelling in times like this, because we all know, right? If you go back as far as you want in times of recessions and even depression, not that we're in a depression by any means of the stretch of the imagination, but we are definitely in the recession, where you'll start to notice that a lot of compelling opportunities start to present themselves. If you were ever considering to look at something and invest at something, what we would advise is to protect yourself as an investor, only look at places with rental guarantees, because if you have something where someone's guaranteeing the rent, you are definitely protected, because the builder or the seller or the developer is actually putting their money where their mouth is and saying, we will guarantee the rent. We'll give you the post-dated checks, and they'll cash as well. So there is some opportunities that have presented themselves. As always, just send us an email at info@reccanada.com. There's one in downtown Toronto. There's another one in Oshawa that's tied to student housing. We'll send you the links. Take a look at it. Even if you're just bored and you want to look at performance and numbers to kind of get your mind off anything else, just email us again at info@reccanada.com. The team will reply back with the 2 projects that have rental guarantees and deferred down payment structures. So where you don't have to put all the money down now, it's deferred out to even like most of it, 15% of it out of the 20 is like deferred out to a year from now. So there's some, if you ever look at something, make sure you're protected with rental guarantees, because one question that came in from an insider is, should I look at a duplex right now and I need to close on it in the next 45 to 60 days? Our advice at that time was no. And the reason is because we're still kind of in that storm where if you have to close on the property right now and rent it out, Our concern is that if we rent it out to a tenant, they lose their job or just decide that they don't want to pay you rent, going back to the early part of the conversation and the early part of the webinar, that we can't, it's not like you can kick out, you can't evict a tenant right now. Everything's closed, like the sheriff's office is closed. So if you can find something that's a lot further out, that might be something that would be beneficial for you to look at. To the next question, as you mentioned, Simos, can I get financing? The short answer is yes, you can get financing. But why don't you talk a little bit about what you should look at if you were looking at financing, refinancing, all of that?
Let me just wrap up.
Money's never been as cheap, right?
So our guidance and our advice for the next 3 months is if you can sit pretty, sit pretty.
Don't close on anything if you don't have. Don't close on anything.
Period. Yeah. If you see a deal so opportunistic, it would hurt your heart not to take advantage of it, by all means act on it, but please give us a call. I don't care if it's in Surrey, BC, or if it's in Toronto. Get a second look at it. Make sure that there's not an underlying factor why the unit is in such a price, such as environmental. There's so many different things. Just shoot us a quick email, info@REC Canada. We'll gladly take a look at anybody's deal anywhere and give you a second opinion.
No cost.
But our short term to conclude is sit down, relax, get your bowl of popcorn, watch what happens, and we're going to be doing consistent analysis as we go on. If you need to sell, engage professionals that are busy during this crisis and kind of understand it and have deployed tools. If you're buying during this crisis, once again, make sure that all-star team is built and you have people that are engaged in the current circumstances. Marketing from before doesn't exist today. It just doesn't. You can't go out. You can't do this. You can't do the other. So like right now, there are very specific strategies that need to be deployed. And if you have to put yourself out there in the market right now, just give us a call.
Simos, we have tons of questions that are coming in. So I want to go through really quickly the agenda that we promised our attendees today. Can you get financing? The answer is yes, you can get financing. We always strongly recommend that you work with an independent mortgage broker. And the reason is it doesn't matter if you're looking at an investment property or a home for yourself. We always advise working with an independent mortgage broker because he or she works with over 500 lenders right across the country. They do all the homework for you, do all the research for you. 95% of the time, you don't pay them a fee. Their fee is paid by the lender that they place the mortgage with. And so it's unbiased information. Not that there's anything wrong with the banks.
And we truly work with amazing people. So, and they work Canada-wide.
Yes.
So we can make a list of our recommended mortgage brokers, people who are doing lending right now. Not 2 months ago, now.
Not that there's anything wrong with the banks, but the red bank's not going to tell you about the green bank, and the green bank's not going to tell you about the rates and terms at the blue bank. And so unless you have a strong relationship, almost like, back in the days where you would go see your banker and that was your banker. Like if you still have that type of kind of close-knit relationship, then by any means, don't try to change that. And we're not here to tell you to do that. But if you're just starting out, or if you've never dealt with an independent mortgage broker, we're not mortgage brokers. We'll give you a list of mortgage brokers that you can, and that that a lot of our clients have been happy with, or ask your friends and family for a referral or introduction. But again, they're unbiased, right? Because it's not their money that they're lending you. And so it doesn't matter if you get the mortgage from lender A or lender 362. They want to make sure that they get you the best rates and terms. What government resources are available for those self-employed and those laid off? We can definitely get you a list of all the benefits right from, or you can go yourself to the CRA website. But Simos, why don't you kind of rhyme off a few of the high-level benefits that are available to kind of the general population as well as small business people?
Yeah, so I had a couple of days ago a big shout out and a big thank you to Arnini Stellato, who are our accountants from Arnini Stellato LLP. These guys are true pros.
We love you, Jerry, and we love you, Ashley.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So to both Jerry and Ashley, lots of love. They were supposed to potentially be able to get on this call, and they were not. So they did supply me with notes for the conversation. in the absence of them being here. And a lot of it is the stuff that you've already heard on television, which is the Canada Emergency benefit and a few things. But I do want to elaborate on a couple big items that have kind of changed in the last few days. It started out with EI. Quickly within a week, it changed over to the $2,000 a month benefit. That's number one. For businesses, the filing deadlines for taxes have changed. So basically, if you had a filing deadline for your corporate taxes after March 18th and before June 1st, you now have a filing deadline of June 1st. For others, for trusts, that's not too relevant. GST, HST has changed. So if you're in business for self, you are going to have specific benefits as far as that are going to go against your payroll deductions. Make sure that if you own a small business, before you pay your payroll deductions on the 15th of the month, make sure that you check in if you qualify with any of Canada's emergency benefits, because it can bring down your exposure to that payment, because deductions are always due, no matter what. So in this case, if you do qualify for specific benefits, they do take it out of your payroll deductions. So before you pay that amount on the 15th or before, because it is next week, make sure that you check in with your accountant to make sure you don't qualify for some of those small business benefits.
And there's going to be a lot of extensions on dates as well, right, Simos? I mean, there's like the normal deadlines that we're used to when it comes to paying taxes. A lot of extensions have been given now.
Yes, for sure. The biggest one to this group, because I know the majority of our people are self-employed, and this is creating a tremendous amount of anxiety, both to the employee and to the employer. So if you are still working, meaning that even if you're at home not working right now, but you haven't been laid off, it means you still have a job and you're getting paid for twiddling your thumbs at home and or working from home, one of the two. Regardless, your employer now, as an employee, has that opportunity to get wage subsidy of 75% of your salary. That's a massive weight lifted off the business for self, the small and medium-sized business entrepreneur, because they're going to be able to not lay you off and keep you on hand, because that extra 25%, they might even be doing something to get it all. So this is an evolving and progressive situation. But 75% is enough. Like, for example, the REC, which has almost 10 support staff, we haven't laid off anyone. Our entire roster is working. I'm not talking about our agents that are independent contractors. I'm talking about our graphic designers, our video editors, our copywriters, our administration staff, the structure of our organization. Everybody's being paid. Everybody's on standby, and 90% of them are actually doing a lot of work from home. So we're in that lucky situation that we've had a slush fund, an emergency fund established since years ago when we got hit with our first emergency. So we've always had an emergency fund, and in this case, we're using it. But more so, with a 75% subsidy, now I'm not even going to have to tap into my emergency fund the way I thought I was going to.
Yeah, so, like I was saying earlier, like huge kudos to the government, because they really did act really fast.
For sure.
Right? And I know there's a lot of changes happening daily, in fact, so stay up to date on their website. And there's obviously frustrations because there's a lot of people that obviously do live paycheck by paycheck, but be patient. Like people that are answering the calls, even on the CRA lines, like they're going through things themselves on their side as well, right? So I think just be patient. Let's try to help each other kind of through this process.
Brother, just to finish that note, because I know we really need to get to Q&A because there's so many beautiful questions.
Yeah.
The 75% wage subsidy is available to businesses that have had a hit on their bottom line, their top line and bottom line.
Yep.
And provided you can either prove year over year gross income reduction of 30% or more, or if you want to use January and February in reference to March. So March 15th is when this all kicked in. So if your March was affected, which clearly every single business was affected, they're just going to have a tough time proving it, and they're trying to find a way to fix that. You're going to be able to take advantage of this incentive. And it's big. It's very important to both employees and employers. We're closely watching it because we're going to be using it for sure. Our performance has been impacted by more than 30%. I can tell you that we're down 80% in volume because 20% has to transact. And we're telling the rest of our clients, you're not going anywhere, just hang tight. So we're seeing a massive decline, of course, in volume of actual transactions in our group. And we are going to be leveraging the government emergency funding for small business. Jazzy, are you there, bud? Can everybody hear us? I've lost Jazzy. Can someone in the chat just let me know if you can see Jazz? Thanks, guys. So we'll wait a couple seconds for Jazz.
And I'm back.
Thanks, Jazz. Everybody right away told us. That's great. Thanks, guys. What a group we have here.
Love you guys.
What a group we have here, man.
We're back up and running?
Yes, we are.
All right. So I don't know where I lost you.
No, you just froze on us, buddy. And
all right.
I asked the room. I was like, "Is anybody see Jazz? Can you guys hear me?" But Jazz is frozen. They're like, "Yeah, Jazz is frozen."
But Simos, I really do need to know this, Simos, and everyone else. Was it a good frozen picture of me though? Because sometimes you get some odd ones on. It was. Damn! I've been doing really good with it. I've been getting like some good, awesome like frozen pictures. Oh, it was a blank screen. I've been told.
If you got some courage today, I beg you to ask the ever-going contest of us. You know exactly where this is going.
Well, look,
you always pick small rooms full of your friends. This is a big sample. We have over 300 people on this call right now.
It's been going on for 15 years. Who's the better-looking co-founder of REC Canada?
Yes.
All right, there's the question. I asked it. I did it. Like, I wore my best shirt today, REC shirt. I didn't want to. Oh, we're getting both. You are both awesome. Okay. Thank you for that, guys. Love the ego boost in the morning on a Saturday. Is it okay if I jump right back into some of the stuff that I really wanted us to cover, Simos?
I'm saying, so unless you have anything else on the agenda, I'm saying we go straight to Q&A. But go.
Well, there's one or two things that I just want to make sure that you and I get out there, and then we're going to jump right into a Q&A.
Deal.
Our guys are too nice. You know why, Simos? Because they're both saying both of you. It's a tie. Oh, now people are naming people not like it's not you and I. There's a Tyler that came in. There's a Laura that came in. People are picking Rudy.
Simeon would win the arm wrestle. Yes, I would.
Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna have to do that. That might be our next webinar. Okay. How does one stay positive during such an uncertain time? My personal thought on this is being positive is a good start. And what I mean by that is look, we know this is a tough time. And so just sitting there to yourself or saying out loud to people that everything's going to be okay and things are okay, and continuously reminding yourself that it's almost borderline naive. I think the mindset that all of us need to have, if you can, is to be optimistic. Because there's a huge difference between being positive and being optimistic. Because when you're optimistic, you're positive about the future. When you realize that the future is going to be positive, now you can start to see possibly for yourself that there's opportunity everywhere. You just need to get in the way of it. And I'm not talking real estate, guys. I'm talking life, where the opportunity might be to start a new business. The opportunity might be that you realize that you don't actually need to be in an office to work for the company that you're working for, that you can actually get a lot more accomplished. I know that happened to me, where culture is so big, like that support staff I get to see every single day. I get to touch, see, smell everyone. And the culture, I need to be around people. But I've also noticed how I've been able to execute on a even higher level. And so how do you stay optimistic? Drown out the negative noise. I'm not here to tell you not to watch any news, but maybe cut it down by half. And if you can get really good, maybe go to one source every 2 days or 3 days. We all know Trudeau hasn't said anything different every time he comes up to the stand. Neither has Trump. Neither has like the governor of New York or our premier. Nobody said really anything different every time they come up. And so maybe cut that time out of the negative news that's coming in and start to drown it out by putting in more positive information. There's an old saying that says garbage in, garbage out. I've seen it more and more during this time than anything else. Surround yourself with people that will bring more positive vibes in your life. There's a question that we had that come in. What resources are there? I saw a name. He's actually not only a friend of ours, but someone that we look for business advice. His name's Michael Saracini. He's actually, I know, been commenting. Some of you know him and some of you don't. Go check him out, for example, on Facebook. There's a group and a community that he has. The name is Real Estate Millionaires by Keyspire, but it's not just all real estate talk. There's a lot of positive people out there that are going through the same situation. He's the founder and president and CEO of a company, Keyspire. There's a lot of resources. There's podcasts. A little shameless plug. I mean, we had a podcast. We have a podcast now for 2 years, close to 100 episodes, but we're not the only game in town. Start looking for other resources. There's actually a podcast almost for everything. There's a podcast on coffee. There's a podcast on papers. Like there's a podcast on everything. Take some time and start to put more positive information in your head. Simos, I really want to get your thoughts on how does someone stay positive during this time.
Yeah, so I mean that's huge, and I will tell everyone what I'm doing, and I just enjoy knowledge. So I've reduced my news intake because I find CNN I just find all these channels pathetic. I find them opportunistic and parasitic. They're fear mongering just to get ratings, and I can't stand it. I tune in to The Economist quite a bit. They're writing some amazing articles that are global. So if you like to get understanding the picture, understanding every new case of COVID is not going to help you. It's just depressing. But understanding what the world governments are doing, what world bodies are doing, what leaders are doing to address the situation puts your mind not only in perspective, puts you at ease that people are solution-driven and working towards a solution. So if you're going to watch news, look at a bigger picture news. What I'm personally doing, is I took on the initiative to watch what I eat and try to work out more. So that's number one.
You do look better, buddy, and I'm not just playing. You do look a little bit better.
I truly appreciate it.
Yeah.
Number two, so I'm doing the lifestyle change there. Number two, I'm trying to finish my broker's course, which is one of the requirements that I have for my real estate practice. I'm doing some extra courses, so I'm trying to do that. I'm working on the back end of our business, meaning really fine-tuning some of the Excel dashboards that we have and kind of reinventing the back end for our core business, which is protecting our bottom line, what we spend money on, what we don't. All the initiatives, all our relationships with our partners have been retouched. Our receivables, we know exactly where every dollar is coming from and when. So I'm doing a lot of stuff for our business in the back end. I've registered for Masterclass online. Masterclass is, Bobby was telling me about it, Bobby Pume, our Director of Operations. And I looked into it, and I'm going to actually get us an REC membership so any of our people can log in because it's that kind of a membership. So it's going to be an info at REC Canada membership.
There was a great course offered by Yale's most attended class, The Pursuit of Happiness, I think it was called. Don't quote me on that. It's a free resource. It's a 10-week course. Just search happiness course, Yale on a great site, google.com, happiness, Yale course. And it's a free course. A lot of our team members are taking it as well. Sorry, Simos, go on, buddy.
Nothing, buddy. So that's what we're doing. So I mean, if you need some ideas, I can share. But I'm working on myself.
Yep.
I'm spending an incredible amount of time with my family. It's actually the most time I've ever spent with my family in my entire life.
They know there's daddy, right? Like I get that all the time too.
I'm telling you for real. I've never in my whole life.
Yeah.
In my whole life.
I know. Yeah.
Since my kids were born, and I have a 7 and a 5-year-old. I have never spent this much time with them. I'm homeschooling my kids now. If anybody's wondering about that, I'm using iExcel, and I'm also using iExcel.ca, which is an online educational tool. It's the best one I found, and I looked at them all. And I'm also using Caroline bought online these Canadian provincial Ontario curriculum or Canadian curriculum, whatever it is, where it guides the kids through exercises. So we're actually splitting the time teaching our actual kids school. Do I like it? No, because it takes a toll on my day and what I'm able to accomplish in my business. But I'm homeschooling my kids and I'm spending an incredible amount of time with them, and I like that.
That's awesome.
So there's a give and take, but it is what it is. Like, this is where we're at.
Something always has to give, right? Two quick tips from my perspective. One, if you're in business and you're still you're still working and your company's still open, but you're working from home, I can go back to the first 2 days when we were going through this process, and I didn't shower right away getting up like I normally would have. And those days weren't as effective. And since then, same thing. I get up every single morning. I went back to my normal routine, except I just don't take a drive anywhere. I sit at this seat. And it's really been something that has helped me to be effective. If you operate a team still, the big game changer within our team, especially within that core staff of 10, including the media squad that puts together all of our content, I have two running virtual offices where it's at 10 in the morning to about 6 p.m. Kind of what are the normal hours that our staff works, where we're working together virtually still. So it's kind of like this. It's just an open, really Zoom conference room, or one of the other ones is like a Google meeting or Google Hangout or something it's called, where we're still able to throw ideas off of each other. The collaboration's happening. The creativity is still continuing. And at the end of the day, I think what it's really helping with is that I know that if I needed to just chime in and ask Tyler something, or vice versa, or Laura, or Luke, everyone is there. We all see each other, but everyone's working away at whatever we're trying to do. But we all know that we're in this together.
Awesome.
We are gonna go into Q&A.
Give me 1 second. We have 3 people that raised their hand, Jas. Okay. Why don't we take these 3 right now live, and then we'll go into the Q&A.
Just before you take these questions, I just wanted to remind everyone again, in case you're going off of this call, because it is 11:35, 11:40-ish. Simos, this is the best that we've ever done on time. And so info@reccanada.com for any information that you're looking for. Please, even if you need someone to maybe help pick up your groceries, we have a team on hand. We want to help. We really, really want to help. And if it's someone that you just need someone to talk to when whatever you're going through, please understand that we're here to help. Just reach out to us, because we would hate if something happened 6 months down the road and for some reason we found out that you didn't think that there's somebody that you could reach out to. We here at REC, we are here for you to reach out. It does not need to be real estate related. In fact, it's like the exact opposite of that. But if you're looking for some of the stats that we spoke about, those rental guarantee projects we spoke about, any of that, it's info@reccanada.com. Let's go into live Q&A, brother.
Okay, so there's the Q&A section, guys, and there's a tremendous amount of great questions there. We're going to go through and answer a lot of them. What we're also going to do is I'm going to have Ty and maybe Luke, after, if the ones that we don't answer, go in, look for duplicates, and they're going to make us kind of a Q&A summary, and maybe we'll fire off some videos to the entire database on the most asked questions.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Okay, so I'm going to go into the live where people have raised their hands. Naveen Chitravanshi is going to be allowed to talk now. Naveen, you are unmuted. Go ahead.
Naveen, I think you need to unmute also on your side.
She's unmuted.
Okay. There it is.
Oh, hi.
How you doing?
Good. You guys?
Great. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it.
This is my first time joining in this chat and this podcast.
There's a first for everything.
Yeah, it's very informative, like lot of information.
Thank you.
Yeah, I do have quite a few. I was just asking about my tenants. So far, I got the rent. One of my tenant rent due on 8th, and she hasn't called me yet. I'm not sure that the check is going to go through or not because there's a long weekend.
Have you reached out to her?
Yeah, I have. The check is not bounced yet.
Okay.
Because of the long weekend. So I was just wondering, should I reach out right now or wait till?
Sure.
No. Hey, look, don't be reactive. Don't be like for us. Don't be reactive in anything you do. But in this specific situation, you need to be proactive. In fact, like once this finishes, you need to pick up the phone and call her. And if she doesn't pick up, send her a text and send her an email. And you're asking the question, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Tenant, just checking in. Is there anything that you need from me? Are you still employed? Did we need to work something out? Be proactive, Naveen. Okay. We got 100% of our rent paid, except for one person. So call it 95%. Except for one.
She made
person.
A partial payment.
Okay, and she made a partial payment of $700. I think her rent is at $2,200 or something. Simos, 2,100. And she's already came out with a payment plan. So you need to reach out, buddy.
Okay.
And also remember, Naveen, be a human being. If you do call them and you do reach out and they are going through craziness, just remember who you are as a person, and based on your circumstances, act accordingly. This is a time to band together as human beings as well.
Yes.
And Naveen, email info@reccanada.com right now and ask for the tenant letter, the template tenant letter, and and the videos that we put together. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Naveen. I'm going to put you back on mute. Thank you for joining us, and we appreciate your comment. Thank you.
Great. You're all right.
Jas, next up is Amar Betty. Amar Betty, you are unmuted, my friend. Amar Betty, are you there?
I think it just takes a little bit, because even Naveen took a while. It's the first time doing this part.
Unmute more. Disable hand promote to panelists. Let me see here. Unmute.
It's so funny. I don't eat breakfast, but now if you give me anything to eat before that, like now the machine's on. Now I can eat everything I see. I finished the whole food plate.
Solimar.
While Simos is bringing people on live, guys, let us know if you would like us to do this on a weekly basis. And do you want us to bring panelists on? Please let us know now. So, because then this gets into the recording, so we know what to do. Would you like us to bring on panelists? And if yes, thank you for that, Brian. Thank you for that, Dave. Yes, you want us to do it weekly. Keep this coming in. If you want us to do panelists, put some names down. Put some topics down. The one thing that Simos and I, really the team behind us, is fantastic at is being relentless in trying to get and reverse engineer really what you might be looking for. So let us know if you would like this to be a weekly. Would you want it to be panelists? And which panelists would you like? What topics would you like to cover?
Jazzy, we don't have anybody with raised hands right now. I see it. Yep. So I'm just going to move. I had Solimar Farrell. Solimar, if you can hear us, I'm trying to allow you to speak. Either I'm doing something wrong or I'm not sure. If you put your question in the Q&A. Oh, sorry. Hello? Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, Solimar. Okay, I figured it out. Welcome to the REC Brunch. Thank you for being here. How can we help you? How can we provide you with some value?
Yes, I'm trying to renew my mortgage for one of the properties, and then I'm debating regarding what term, and if I take fixed term or if I take variable rate. And then the situation is that now the variable rate is low, but then I'm concerned that if I take variable rate, then the interest goes up in 1 or 2 months, then I will not be able to get a good fixed rate, because the fixed rates are a little bit lower, are lower also. Then what is your perspective about what should be the best strategy now? Because I was thinking, I had a fixed rate, like a 3.55 something, and then now I have the opportunity that I could get a variable rate at 2.8 7, something like that. But then it's a difficult decision because I know that there are 3-year term, for example, fixed term that could be 2.8. Then what is your recommendation? Yeah, I know you don't have a crystal ball, but
no, but I
you're
do.
Wrong. You're wrong. Simos has the crystal ball, as you can see.
I can see it, but I
don't know. here's kind of what we're hearing from economists and kind of off my conversation with Callum Ross yesterday, and obviously Simos throwing what your thought process is around it as well. Rates increasing like by any significant amount is the chances of that happening in the next 18 months is very, very low. And so you can see that if you were to get maybe if you were to stick with a variable rate, because it's so low right now, I think there's offerings of about 2.3%, 2.2% right now on a variable rate with some lenders. You might want to, if it all depends on your risk tolerance, right? Like, are you okay with that going from 2.3% to 2.8% in 18 months, or 3.2%, 3.3%? If you have the stomach for it, then you might want to lean that way. But if you're going to lose a lot of sleep and it's going to add stress to your life, then you're probably better to go in with a locked-in interest rate and set it and forget it, and don't worry too much about it. And that 3-year mark, you said, what were you getting the 3-year offered at? I just wanted to make sure.
2.85, something like that.
Come on, guys. That's insane. Great rates.
Yeah. So if you go 3-year at 2.85, I think you're gonna be really well off, and you're gonna be happy.
So my thing is, I'm a member of so many WhatsApp groups and Facebook groups. The amount of people I see commenting, I got a 1.82 rate. Who can beat that? Guys, this isn't a competition. It's like people make a mockery out of the system. Like with rates at 2.2 or 2.8 or 3.2, we're talking about the lowest rates in the history of lending. If you can get a fixed mortgage at 3 points or less, you will be able to sleep like a peaceful little baby for years to come.
I always tell the story that Go ahead. Sorry, Simos.
If you want to leverage the 2.1s and the 2.0s, go ahead, because for the next 2-3 years, all joking aside, you don't need a crystal ball to know that the rates are not only going to remain low, they're probably going to go lower. I hope not to see negative interest rates, because it just promotes inflation. I hope it just stabilizes where it is, but you don't need a crystal ball to understand that the economy needs a stimulus.
Bank of Canada did say that the them going into negative rates is not even something that they
hope so.
Perceive. Yeah, they made some strong statements around that.
And again, Benjamin Tall, who we take a lot of heat from, believes the same. So I do hope not to see that. But if anybody's talking right now, should I get fixed or variable? It's a matter of comfort, as Jas was just discussing. Do what's right for you to be able to sleep at night. But just take it easy. All rates right now are ridiculously low. Don't compete. Oh, my buddy got 2.1. I shouldn't lock in, or I should wait. Just stop.
Yep.
Be happy. Be comfortable. You're very welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for participating, Solimar. Hang in there. We'll answer some more questions. I do see Catherine Rowley, who I met with in my office about a month ago. Where's Catherine? Let's get her up here.
It's Catherine related to the beautiful Melissa Rowley as well.
She actually is.
Rowley.
Catherine Rowley, welcome to the REC Brunch, girl. How are you doing?
Good. I've been on my elliptical and I'm exercising, trying to get some movement in my jammies.
That's it. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, you're amongst 200 plus people right now. Go ahead.
Oh,
trainer.
Tenants. I have a property and I'm doing a legal duplex in Guelph. I'm really having difficulty renting. Any suggestions? I have an agent who's posting it on Kijiji, Panda. I was thinking of doing Kijiji and paying and putting it up at the top.
How long?
It every day.
Oh my God. How long has it been?
probably about a month now.
A month. How many people have seen it?
2 virtually.
2 virtually, and nothing obviously came out of those 2.
No, 2 couples wanted it with a kid, and then they dropped off the face of the earth. And people will respond asking information about it, and then she never hears anything back.
High level, low level. High level, you need to just deploy patience. You yourself need to just be patient.
I'm the queen of patience.
Awesome,
right?
awesome. Low level, you might want to consider a slight price drop, which maybe allows, okay. And like, what number is it at? Is it at a round number, like $1,500? Like, what's the number? What are you trying to rent it out for?
We're at 19 right now.
Okay, so I want you to go $1,890. Okay, because when it just comes in slightly better in searches. Okay, and yes to paying it on Kijiji. I need to get it up on Facebook. Get the realtor to put it up on MLS as well in the board. You never know. Right now you need to throw everything up against the wall. Everything.
Okay. All right.
And like go kind of guerrilla style marketing is a term that we use.
May I add something? Somebody just piped in on the Q&A, guys. I've seen some people offering first month free. We posted our rental on both Kijiji, Facebook Marketplace, and 90% of our responding came from Facebook Marketplace, says Diana Spremo, excuse me. Joe Loria, thank you, Archie, got to run. And Steve Little says, I've seen some people offering first month free. So
so I think even before you go there, because you might not be able to do that, but get creative. I love that point, Simos. Get creative. What does that mean? Offer free internet service. You probably have a package with Rogers or Bell or somebody. You need to start to kind of get creative and figure out. Do
you guys remember 2005 area? And I'm not sure who was in the market then. I certainly was. Back when they were giving the free 24-inch LCD TVs, when you signed a 1 year, like we might have to go back to some old school incentives, guys.
I don't think might, Simos. I think we're here. Like it's time to start thinking outside the box. It's really, you need to start to think outside the box, period. Did that answer your question, Catherine?
Yeah, it does. One other thing. Awesome. Can you converse with tenants? I have senior tenants in Mississauga. They don't have internet. They do have cell phones. Their daughter contacted me saying they can't pay rent for May and June. Don't cash the checks. I need to send a letter back to them. Can I converse with the daughter on behalf of the parents? Because normally email and text is not something you can do according to the landlord and tenant board.
Yeah, look, I think in the situation that you're in, any conversation right now, it seems like the daughter is kind of the person to communicate with. So I would say get the conversation started with her and figure out, can we do a payment plan? We actually even served an N4 as well, right, Simos, for that one? Yeah. For the one, so I would serve them. Harry Fine, ex-adjudicator, made a fantastic point. He goes, look, serve the N4, because when the sheriff's office open and the landlord-tenant board opens up again, you don't want to be at the bottom of the pile. Serve it. Let them know why you're serving it for that purpose. Be upfront and honest with them. And look, we are serving this. It all comes down to the reason, because we don't want to be at the bottom of the list, and this is formality. We need to do this. But I don't think there's anything wrong in having a conversation with her at any time. Shoot us an email, and I can make a connection with not only Harry Fine's group, but a couple of other paralegals that have reached out to me, and they really want to help. And I can make the connections for you, and Simos can make the connections for you.
Perfect. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Jas.
All right.
I do see, Catherine, I'm putting you back on mute. Again, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your morning with us and without us, of course. Bye for now.
You too. Bye for now.
Take care.
I have, who's here? Tyler Walburn and Marcia Bofau.
Oh, Marcia. Bring Marcia on.
No. What I was going to do is I think Tyler just wants to tell everybody how much he loves them. So I'm going to give him a minute to just tell the good world.
Get on board. Get on over here, Ty.
Go ahead, Ty.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Why can't we see you, brother?
because he's not a panelist. I don't know how.
That's okay. You know what? My quarantine beard's getting pretty long.
Ty, you there?
Oh, can you see me?
Wait a second. Okay. We're trying.
Oh, okay. Keep on talking.
There you are. I figured it out. Yeah.
Hi, guys. Hello.
Now look at this. Hey, Simos, look at this.
This is my quarantine beard. It is getting very long right now. Great job so far, guys. We had a few questions on our Q&A portion.
Go, buddy.
Pull it up.
You moderate for us.
You know what?
Ty. So if that's what you want to do, I wouldn't. There's nobody that can do it better. So let's let Marcia
let's wait until the end
speak.
For that.
So just mute yourself 1 second, Ty. Perfect. No, where's Marcia?
And just to everybody, while Simos does.
Marcia, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Hi.
Hi, gentlemen. How are you?
Great.
Simos,
Look at Jas's smile.
I love you.
I have a business crush on this guy.
I love you.
Okay, so somebody just won. Jas, it's over.
What's going on, girl? How are you doing? Is everyone safe? Family safe? Friends safe?
Yeah, we're just, I need to adopt the simian attitude towards health. I think we took on we have lots of food, let's eat. So we need to take on the let's do some exercising now. So we'll start that today, I guess. So my question. I'm getting letters to say that a couple of the condos that I invested in are the dates have been pushed out for obvious reasons. Yep. But they have these checks with post-dated checks that they're planning to withdraw based on the original dates. Yeah. Will these dates be adjusted, or will they pull the checks out?
So
originally said they would.
Awesome. Great question. And for anyone who's listening, because I know there's hundreds of people that have invested and purchased pre-construction condos with REC. And so I hope everyone is listening. The question that Marcia asked, in case you had a hard time hearing her question, was if you've already given deposits, is there a way, are the builders going to be cashing them? If we don't ask for an extension, then they will be cashing them. Marcia, to your point, and to everyone who's listening and watching right now, if you have done this with us at REC, you need to send us an email, info@reccanada.com. Sit tight for the next few days, because already there's been at least, I think, 160 emails or so that's flooding our inbox, but we are going to get to every single one of them. Tell us your project, the unit number, and when you would like the extensions for. Our team has been batting 1,000% at asking and getting the deferrals for those deposits. Not to say that it's going to continue, but we will call every single builder for any unit that you purchased with REC. If you did this without REC, what I want you to do is get on the email first, the developer, and then get on the phone with them and ask them. Ask for more than you need, guys. So I'm giving you the inside of what I did with the builders. A lot of our clients said, it's going to be cashed in May, Jas. Can you push it to June? I went to the builder and said, give me July. In case, just negotiations, right? In case they said, we can't do July, we'll do June. At least I got what Marcia was asking for. Did that answer your question, Marcia?
It absolutely did. Thank you.
Okay, you know what to do, hon. Send me the unit numbers, okay?
I will do that.
The pushes that you want. I'll get that done on, I can't do Monday because of Easter. I'll do that on Tuesday morning, the first thing that I do for you. That will get done.
Okay, I have another quick question.
You get enough because you already said you have a business crush on me. Now I'm going to give you all the answers.
Okay. So obviously we want to take advantage of the low mortgage rates. I can't remember if you can lock in 6 months closing, or if there's a longer term that we can somehow take advantage of.
So there is. I can take this one, Jazzy.
Yes, please do.
The typical was always 4 months.
Okay.
That typical has been extended to 6 to 8 months now. But RBC I know for sure has a program that you can lock in an interest rate 4 years prior to. Now, for specifically designed and surrounding pre-construction.
How many years?
4 years prior to. They'll hold it for 4 years.
What?
That's right. And this is the thing. Like people don't understand the value of an independent mortgage broker. Yes. Mortgage brokers get paid to close your deal, not for free advice. They don't have salaries, meaning that they're always up to date with the latest and greatest incentives and programs by the financiers. So we will definitely put out a list of our preferred brokers out there, and you guys call them and interview them all. Like we don't gain anything from your financing positions.
We don't get paid we don't get paid from the brokers or anything like that.
So this is you guys interview who you like, and these are all guys who have closed 100 deals or more for us. Every single one of them has. So these guys are qualified, excellent people.
All right, you guys will hear from me in the next few days.
Awesome.
Thank you again.
Girl, thank you.
While we were talking to Marcia, I went through the chat. A lot of people said yes, they would like to see this again next week. So we're going to align it up, and we are going to bring panelists. We'll definitely bring some of our most popular friends, meaning the guys who are on the front lines, economists, organizational leaders, whether it's Graybrook or Keyspire or lots of our strategic partners have a lot of value to bring to the table.
And they have a lot of experience, right? And I think
but I can see it right now. Yeah. I can see it right now that we're doing this again. So this is going to be awesome. Go ahead, Jas.
Just to follow up on Marcia. Okay, that question went away. Sorry, there was another Q&A that came in. I apologize. No, I was just saying, look, I think experience is the best mentor, right? And so we're gonna make sure that we bring on as many people as we possibly can, and obviously try to keep it where everyone can get their thoughts out and kind of coordinate everything. But I'm glad that there's enough people in the chat that are asking for it, because like I said, what we do really well is just reverse engineer what people are looking for. Ty, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Ty. Let's see you, buddy. Where are you?
For the sake of time, you want to start throwing on some. You want to throw some rapid fire questions at us, and
all right. So there was a few that we had earlier. One is Simos answered it already, but what is your favorite breakfast cereal, Jas?
Fruit Loops.
Fruit Loops, true. I'm Frosted Flakes. Ooh, actually, I like 2 scoops of raisins first. That's my favorite one.
I used to. I got to tell you, with cereal, really quickly, it is the one thing that I go into like hard phases with. So Fruit Loops was like, it's the number one. I can eat that anytime. But then, like what you said, Frosted Flakes, had a 6-month craze for that. 2 scoops of raisin bread, like all of them. I have my wife only keeps that cashy cereal in here. So I never get a chance to get to the grocery store. But if I did, I'm getting Fruit Loops. So she keeps the good stuff. Pizza for breakfast. I love that. Go.
All right. And then we got a question. Are we seeing a change in new pre-con developments? Like, are we seeing any new developments in these past like few weeks?
Yeah. So I can tell you that I've had probably a dozen very high-level discussions with developers along with industry pros, meaning our colleagues in the pre-construction world. It's a very small circle, and there hasn't been a single launch since March 15th. There's not going to be a single launch for the foreseeable in the next 2-3 weeks. There are definitely some developers that are now planning virtual launches because they need to get their product out there. But the biggest and most important concern that is shared across the industry is the return to construction. So a developer who's going to launch today has to really think that if he sells today but gets delayed by a year, is he going to be able to close those transactions, or will he have to cancel the project and resell at what is then market price? So there is a lot of pre-construction right now is surrounded by a lot of fog, and we're working, like I can tell you that myself and Jas are only working with developers who have existing inventory. We're not participating in any launches. and we have negotiated.
And only if they have rental guarantees.
That's right. So if they're willing to offer our specific, I don't care what they do to the rest of the world, but as far as an REC insider, if the REC insider can get a rental guarantee, can get all their terms in writing on paper, no problem. I'll sell a unit right now. But if I don't have those things on paper, I'm so sorry. I don't feel comfortable enough to put one of my guys into a deal.
Mm-hmm.
Tai, go.
Okay, and then we have
rapid fire them.
We have another question. Frank Sellin. I'm self-employed and busy working now, but if this goes on for several months and clients' needs decrease, my business may drop off. If so, what is the possibility of getting a bank mortgage or new opportunities coming down the road?
Well, I think if we heard the question right, if you're not going to be working in the future, Frank, then getting financing is going to be tough. And getting financing locked up right now with the possible cloud of you decreasing, like your business decreasing, my personal opinion on that is just don't do that. Let's get the business let's get the foundation of the business strong, and make sure that you can weather the storm, then look into investing into real estate. The people that should be thinking about the only people, in my opinion, that should be investing into real estate is ones that have liquid cash underneath their pillow or have access to lines of credits, and you have the stomach, and your job is the foundation of what you do for a living is strong. If that's foggy, don't be buying anything right now. Stay away from it forget a 6-foot hockey stick, like a lot further than that. You know what I'm saying, guys? Like stay away from that right now.
It's a great piece of advice, Jazzy.
Yeah, because let's not build on swampy foundation. Okay, so let's keep the foundation strong, and you do that by if you have liquid cash. And it's like this has happened. Go back right to back to the Depression time of 1920s, like late 20s, so on and so forth. That the ones that came out of this is because they saved money, they had money ready to invest. But if you don't, then now's not the time to think about this. We need to get your foundation strong.
All right. So the next question is from Debbie Hicks. Hey, Debbie. Is please ask Greybrook. I assume not to for them to be part of our panel.
Oh, okay. Obviously, Debbie, we love you. You still have probably the best picture that has been sent to REC. It's the number one. We still have it in our office. It's just a beautiful picture. We love you and thank you for the support. And we will we just got another message, definitely reach out to both Peter and Sasha.
Where is Debbie from in British Columbia? Was it Kelowna?
I forgot that. Debbie, leave us a message. Let us know where you're from.
And then we have another question by Joanne. I have a commercial mortgage renewing summer 2023. Would you ask for a blend and extend at this point?
Simos, I'll let you take that, buddy. Commercial boy.
Repeat the question, because blend and extend is in commercial real estate is the biggest key right now. Redo the question.
I have a commercial mortgage renewing summer 2023. Would you ask for a blend and extend at this point?
No. So just so everybody knows what a blend and extend is, because it's multifaceted. There's a blend and extend on the commercial retail leasing side.
Excuse me for 1 second, guys. No, go ahead, Simos. Go ahead.
Okay. So blend and extend can mean one of two things in commercial real estate. When we're talking about blend and extend from an interest perspective, that means that you are either on a variable or a fixed, and you're trying to get into the other. If that's what you're referring to, I would stay with a fixed, not a variable, in commercial, because commercial already has a tremendous amount of uncertainty and fog, especially if you own retail commercial property. I would stay away from anything variable. Let's start eliminating X factors and stick to something that you know for sure will be the case. If you're referring to blend and extend about your leasing, if you have commercial property, and for example, you have a restaurant, a convenience store, and a dry cleaners in there. All three have been shut down. Let's say, for example, so they can't pay you their rent. What do these people do? What a lot of commercial landlords are doing right now is they're blending and extending, meaning that for the next 3 months, you're only going to pay your TMI. You're not going to pay your net lease. You're only going to pay your property tax and common area maintenance, or CAM. Your actual net is going to be tacked on or blended over the next 12 months. So if you were, just for easy math, if you're paying 10 grand a month, which is 120,000 a year, you're going to take 30,000 of that, and you're going to divide that 30,000 over 12, which is going to add, let's say, $2,500 a month or $2,800 a month to the other months. So instead of paying 10 grand a month in 3 months, you're going to pay 12.5, and for the rest of the year to catch up on those arrears. Some are exercising some forgiveness, but blending right now and extending is definitely it's going to be the coin phrase of the year for commercial real estate.
Perfect. And Jas, welcome back.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
We
Thank
have another question from Dan and Juan Porter. What structure do you recommend for a tenant payment?
I think we have somebody off of mute.
Oh, man.
Simos, do you want to mute everyone again? Just to.
I did, yeah.
Okay, go, Tyler.
Perfect. So what structure do you recommend for a tenant payment plan? So, for example, 50% on the first of the month, 50% on the 15th of the month, or, a different 40-60. What do you guys recommend?
Is this for somebody who's just signing a new lease, or is this for like a repayment plan? Sorry.
Let's say it's for a repayment plan.
Well, first and foremost, make sure that it's documented what the payment plan is going to be, and that it's not a reduction. Do not ever write in writing that it's a reduction of payment, because then that can be deemed to be the new rent payment, okay? Mm-hmm. And so in terms of how it should be set up, I would always go the first of the month. I'm sorry, you did say, let's think about it from the perspective, Tyler, if it's a repayment plan. Repayment plan, you gotta ask the questions like, how are they getting paid, how much is coming in, and when it's coming in, and then work with the tenant. Listen, as landlords, guys, right now, we really need to understand, and I'm not trying to be the bearer of bad news. There's not much we can do if the tenant doesn't pay. And so we need to be as customer service oriented as we possibly can. It's why you always hear us pushing content on a daily basis, talking about treat your tenants like customers, because you're running a business right now. And so now we need to make sure that we're thinking of our tenants like customers, and you're going to have to figure it out in terms of like, hey, how they pay, how much they pay, when they pay, based on when they're getting the money. And look, there's not like, if one of our tenants had said that there's no way I'm going to pay you because I lost my job, I can tell you what Simos and I would do between the two of us. And even if I didn't have Simos and I was doing it by myself, or if he was doing it by himself, is we would pick up the phone in three-way conference with the CRA and try to figure out the benefits. We need to be proactive. We need to be solution-oriented, but we also need to execute. Okay, guys?
Ty, I'm actually looking at the Q&A, and I see two big questions. One is by Hala. If you paid full deposit and the project is canceled or builder is bankrupt, parentheses Crestford, and they're talking about Crestford's two big projects in Yorkville. Is the buyer's deposit protected by Tarion? So the quick answer to that is Tarion does not protect deposits. Yeah. Tarion's warranty on the building, and it protects the deal. But the money actually has never been with Crestford or any other builder. It's sitting in trust with a legal firm, whatever firm was representing Crestford at the time. And all those deposits are going to be returned. The only thing lost is opportunity and interest you would have gained on that money. So unless there is fraud where the builder illegally cashed those checks and took your money without your knowledge, that would be fraud. It wouldn't be part of the pre-construction process. So no, you don't lose your money. You should get all that money back if and when the project cancels. Just because a developer goes bankrupt doesn't mean a different developer isn't going to buy this project out.
The location in both of those places is AAA location. The chances of somebody else.
So just be patient.
Yeah, but a great answer, Simos. Just and I think it was from Hala. Hala, reach out to the lawyer that you wrote the checks to. That's where you're going to find out who it was payable to XYZ law office. Get a hold of them. They're open. that like physically there might not be at the office, but all the lawyers in real estate, and that's why deals are still closing, are all working virtually. Get a hold of them, put your hand up, let them know that you're there.
The other question that I just saw from a really high, I would love to answer. Any insight for buying commercial, good time or wait and see? Commercial real estate, guys, is a business. It is extremely foggy right now because we don't know if your tenants are going to be able to pay their rent. However, if you see a plaza and it's empty and the seller needs to sell it, you can get it for a great price. If anyone on this call or anyone on the planet thinks that the world will not get back to normal one day, you're mistaken and you're sad. This will pass. The world will be the world again. We're all going to get through this. And commercial real estate is the foundation of every single neighborhood on the planet. People have to live close to business, services, and infrastructure. If you see an amazing deal, the only thing we ask you from the REC is stop, think, get a second and third pair of eyes on it. Let us take a quick look at your deal. Don't make any rash decisions. Take your time. And it's always a great time to buy real estate. Always. No matter what's happening. It's just be very cautious right now. Make sure your money's right. And make sure you get an all-star team looking at your stuff.
And it might be always a great time to buy real estate. Just to add to that, it comes down to your personal situation. That's all. Tai.
Perfect. And then Simos, you answered any insight for buying commercial?
Yeah, that's the one I just did.
Yeah, and then so do you think that access to HELOCs will be reduced?
Easily. They could. It's a matter of the banks. Depends on that's going to depend on the bank's appetite of how aggressive they are. Lending is where their revenue comes from. So could they hold back on line of credit? Maybe. They might reduce a little bit to see how people come out of this. But then again, they might increase their line of credits because it doesn't put money on the street immediately, and they might reduce their mortgage. They might tighten up mortgages and open up lines of credit to people who have really high credit scores and employment, meaning that the people who have the jobs and are able to continuously service debt will continue to have access and increased limits, where the actual mortgage lending, which is money on the street today, could take a small hit. We'll see, guys. It would be again, it's a crystal ball question. Let's just see over the next 2-3 weeks. We're really going to see where the bank's heads are at.
And right now we only have one bank, Scotiabank, that said that you're not able to use your HELOC as a down payment. The other banks haven't followed suit yet. And just because one does, it doesn't always mean that the others will. The other banks might even look at this as their competitive advantage and not follow suit, or they won't. We got to wait.
But see, that's a great point, Jas. So because you're following the news to the minute, that just happened yesterday.
I know. Yep.
So again, knowing those things, that means Scotiabank looked at their underwriting process and said, let's eliminate that risk factor. Yeah. So you can't borrow money to borrow money. Do you see what I'm saying? And Scotiabank is one of the most investor-friendly banks.
Yeah.
So it is important. Just run your deal by us, please. Just run it by us.
Perfect. I think that's it for the Q&A that I can see. Guys, it was really nice to see you. And thank you for everyone for tuning in.
Well, thank you, Tai.
Jazzy, why don't you give everybody a really quick recap of a podcast, REC Text Community, and info at REC Canada for questions.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Simos. I really want to appreciate, I really want to let you know how much we at REC appreciate your guys' time today. As I mentioned earlier, we tried to keep it down to till about 11:30, 11:40, but the Q&As were amazing. So thank you for participating. Thank you for giving us your time. If there is anything that we can help with, as I mentioned earlier, please, I just got something. Okay, yes. Please reach out to us by info at reccanada.com. If we did not answer your question, just email it to info at reccanada.com. If you're not part of our text community yet, you can go to text, TEXT, reccanada.com. You'll come up to a landing page, and you'll You'll just need to fill that in. And so give us permission to be part of the text community. The text community gives you access to exclusive content, market updates, and exclusive opportunities slightly before our REC insiders via email, approximately 24 hours before. And that's why we set up a little text community. But if it's just a question that you have from today's webinar, you want the recording from today's webinar, you want the exclusive rental guarantees that we have in place with 2 projects in the GTA, where again, the down payment is deferred over a period of time. Builders putting their money where their mouth is. There's about 6 units that we have available across both projects, and you want to take a look at it, email us at info@reccanada.com. You need help with somebody picking up groceries, email us at info@reccanada.com. If you never got a chance to tell us which one is the better looking co-founder, email us at info@reccanada.com. Weekly, we have a podcast just on any podcast platform or YouTube. Search REC Experience, the one that we just came out with, and it's going to be aired on Wednesday. Very, very excited. We sat down with a psychotherapist in Toronto who started a pro bono service with 800 other services. She did it in 3 days, 800 other therapists, where the Jas is the better looking. Thank you. Where frontline workers can go online and get the services of one of 800 therapists pro bono. And it's just like an amazing service the psychotherapist started for frontline workers, obviously going through some issues now, right? From a mental health perspective. Mental health is real. We need to talk about it more. If there's anyone that you know that might have issues with it or problems, please go listen to this podcast that's coming out on Wednesday. There's all the descriptions will be there where you can also share it with somebody that you know that might be a frontline worker that might be going through some problems in the mental health field. With that said, thank you so much for joining us for brunch today. I really, again, appreciate your time. Stay safe, stay healthy, and Simos, I'll let you kind of sign everyone off.
So I would like to wish everybody a really happy Easter weekend. Easter is a big week. Passover is a big week for the Jewish community. To whoever is celebrating any of these holidays, do take the time to reflect on what is important to you, because that's what it truly is for. Easter and Passover both take on the significance of trials and tribulations in life. Every day represents something very important. So do take the time to reflect and spend the time with your family and do the best that you can with everything you're doing. From our homes to your homes, God bless you. Thank you for joining us. And we're more than likely going to be emailing our entire community out a message. We're probably going to be here next Saturday, more than likely. So if this thing catches on and you guys like it, we're going to do it a lot more. And share it. Share it. It's wide open. So this isn't somewhere where we're constrained by walls. That we can increase our subscription to Zoom to 1,000 if we need to. That's not an issue. So we had just under 300 people on today. Thank you. And everybody have a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk soon. Stay safe.
Thank you, Simos. Thank you, Simos.
This has been the REC Experience Podcast with Jas Takhar, an REC Canada production.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching and listening. Please take a second right now to subscribe and follow us on whatever podcast platform you're watching or listening. It means the world to me. Thank you.